Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Lockie and today I am back with my Formula 1 Baku Grand Prix review. Sorry that this is a day later than I liked. I actually got back from Sydney a day later than I would have liked, so I do apologise. Also, second time doing face cam, so I may look around. I'm trying to remember to look at the camera. I will be at points looking over to the right here because I have race data and championship data, notes, and all of that kind of thing that I just got to check up on. And I do apologize for doing that if that bothers you. As I said, I'm also new to this whole thing, trying to figure out better solutions, and I'm using my phone. That's why I don't. Typically, I have the notes on my phone, but because I'm using my phone to record this is how that works. Alright, so first things first, contracts. All we know now, Ricciardo is staying till 2018 at Red Bull. So my hip, I don't know what's going on with my hip. But Ricciardo will be staying at Red Bull 2018. He signed a 5-year deal, not a 3-year deal, which is what was suspected. So he will now be staying till then. So he signed a 5-year deal. That doesn't make either way. 2018 he's staying. So yes, now we get into another thing, contract. My notes are a little bit messy. I do apologize. Williams, not Williams. Force India keeps saying that Sergio Perez is signed, and Perez went into an interview and says, "No, I haven't signed for anyone at the moment." And it's like, oh, okay. But Force India's like, "Yeah, he's signed. He's signed. It's like, if he's saying he's not signed and he's not signed, could be for all I know, but I would like to see him go Ferrari. I think he's ready to go Ferrari. When he went to McLaren, yes, McLaren fell apart, but it was I don't think he was ready. I think he was still a little mature, still just had to develop his driving a little bit and get some more skill. That's my opinion. He's a phenomenal driver now, definitely deserves a Raikkonen seat at Ferrari, and there's a good chance we can see him because Grosjean hasn't really stepped up since the start of the year. No one's really stepped up. Sainz is the only other candidate I can see, but apparently he's on a long-term contract, but I don't believe that because his father would have known, hey, we ain't going to sign this long-year contract, we're going to get you into a good team. If a good team comes along, we're going to get you. Alright, so we get into the practice. So Red Bull, Verstappen had engine problems in FP1, and Ricciardo hit the wall in FP1. So slow start for them. They didn't quite. Ricciardo admitted it was his fault. He got off the throttle, got off the brake a little too early, and went a little too fast and wiped out the right-hand side of his car. Unfortunately, to turn back and have a decent weekend, not a great weekend, but a decent weekend. And Verstappen's thing was just an oil leak, I believe. I can't remember what, but it wasn't anything serious. So yeah. So also in FP1, after the session, teams were saying, "Hey, we got cuts, these serious cuts on the back of our tires. Why do we have these?" And basically, they found out it was the curbs. There were bolt reports that the bolts were sticking out a little too long, or the curves were a little bit too far away. A bunch of different things were reported, maybe all of them, but at the end of the day, new track, I give them a break, but still, that's a bit unlucky for them to have that. Alonso had fuel problems in FP2 as well. Rosberg engine failed. Kimi Raikkonen had an engine problem. He actually got stuck in gear. I think it was gearbox. Vettel had a problem. Sauber changed an engine because they had a problem. And then that was just from the track. So because they're going on straight for 23 seconds, I think it was full throttle, and about after 15, that max speed, they're right at the top. The engines just can't hold. If they were going to continue pulling, they'd be fine. But they're not built for holding speed. They're built for getting speed. So everyone had problems. And talking about those curbs, I forgot to mention, they actually removed some of the curbs in a few corners because they couldn't fix the problems. They went, we'll just get rid of it. And then Is that it? So I'm just going to make sure that is it for this. Alright, so then we get to the next day, which is free practice, and it's like, okay, gutters should be fixed now, everything should be okay, and curbs and all that, and then a gutter comes off and smashes the Williams, and Bottas doesn't get any running into FP3. Not that he really needed it, but still didn't get any running, and because it did some serious damage, almost actually broke some marshals' feet, but then avoided it. It just missed the marshals, and it would have broken their feet. It's not like it may have broken their feet. It was going to break their feet. If it hit you that hard, it would have done it. So that was that. And then Red Bull were close to where they were. They made up some ground, which we'll get into for qualifying. And Perez hit the wall at the end of Q3, which ultimately led to him needing a gearbox change because he damaged his race gearbox because it was free practice 3, which is a 5-place grid penalty. And then it was, I think it was 5 or 10. Everyone kept saying different things, and I actually didn't check, and I do apologize, but I was with family watching it, so we weren't really paying attention to everything. So that was that. Basically, that was not a lot going on in practice. Just showed that there was going to be some engine problems. Engines could hurt after this race, and a lot of teams just introduced new engines. So a lot of these problems are going to affect them towards the end of the year. Vettel had problems at the start of Q3. His ECU, which basically is a device that controls the whole car, was having problems. His timing's not getting registered. Can't send temperature data back, everything, and so they made sure that was working. So he actually went out late, did do pretty well in the end. So that was Vettel's problem. Bottas did make qualifying, and then at the end of it, Renault was dead last, both drivers. Then you had McLaren, which was Button. Then you had the 2 Mauritius, and I believe that's all I've got here. There may have been one other person or not, I do apologize. So yeah, then we had, Q2 was very interesting. So Hülkenberg spun on his flying lap, and he was the first person to do a flying lap. So everyone went past, burnt their tyres out. Tyres are a big talking point, and didn't get to set a time. A couple just missed it, and they did, but the ones that got affected really suffered, which affected Ricciardo, Hamilton, and a couple of others, and that ultimately will come back towards the end to bite some of them in the ass. Not Hülkenberg, but bite some of the others in the ass, which I don't know why I said that, because it doesn't actually affect them, but oh well. So Hamilton was having some brake problems in the second qualifying session, locking up, making little mistakes, little errors, not quite comfortable on that car. Looked good in it, it was quick all weekend, just not comfortable enough. And then Hülkenberg was knocked out in Q2 because he couldn't get a good running because he got caught by traffic, and then he had that problem where he spun at the start of the session. And the reason why that's a big deal, typically I wouldn't mention that, but Force India looked very, very strong at this track. Then we went into Q3, and Hamilton crashed in Q3. Looks like boring besides that. Hamilton crashed, and then that caused a red flag with 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go, which was very, very interesting. Basically because everyone could do a hot lap, a warm-up lap, and then do a hot lap, and that you only get one hot lap. So if you made a mistake, that was it, which some people did. Some people had problems with it, but either way, it was a fantastic qualifying session. It really got everyone out going and everyone rushing. And actually, what happened earlier in that qualifying session was Verstappen, I think, gonna do a hot lap, but just finished a hot lap. Bottas tried to pass him. Verstappen moved over to let him pass, and then Bottas actually didn't quite do the right thing. Either way, he screwed over Verstappen and Verstappen screwed his lap over, and it was clearly Bottas' fault. And going to this, did the same thing. Verstappen got screwed and couldn't fix. They couldn't get a good lap because you only got one, and then they both made a mistake. And so at the end of the day, Verstappen got 7th. I'll actually go to the top 10. So it was Rosberg first, Perez second, Ricciardo third. Ricciardo and Vettel, who got 4th, did the exact same time. Ricciardo was the first one out, so he actually got away and got 3rd, and Vettel had to start because it's the first one to do this lap time out of the two of you. And then it was Kimi Raikkonen, Massa, Kvyat, Bottas. Verstappen was 9th, so Bottas actually was 8th, and then Hamilton in 10th. Now Williams were expected to do well here, and there's no reason why they wouldn't do well here. It's a high-speed track, suits their car very well. Ultimately, they didn't have a good race, to be honest. Yeah. So I don't know why. I just had to burp and then, yeah, I couldn't inhale after that. I don't know why. So then we went into the next. Then we went into the race. Renault. I didn't actually find out who it was. I think it was Magnussen. Started from pit lane, which they were dead last anyway. It doesn't make a difference. And then they had a great start. Great going into turn 1. Ricciardo kept 2nd. There was a bit of a crash with Hulkenberg. Gutierrez knocked his front wing off. Actually, let's talk a point. Gutierrez almost didn't race, by the way, because he was sick and it hurt to brake and it hurt to do anything in the car. So there was some questions as, should he drive? But because Haas don't have a reserve driver, he had to drive. And that came back to bite them in the arse not having a reserve driver. But he absolutely should not have been racing. He did not look well out there. He did not look well when he came in. And it's not a common cold. He's sick with something at the moment. So then it was kind of like boring after the start. Kvyat retired lap 5 because he had suspension problems, which ultimately actually came a common problem for Toro Rosso through the weekend. And then Raikkonen got a 5-second grid penalty. Now he was following, the reason why is he was following Ricciardo. Ricciardo went to pits, and so Raikkonen went, I'll just continue getting a toe and turn at the last second. Left a little too late, crossed the pit lane line, 5-second penalty because you're not allowed to do that. And that was fair, all 4 tyres did it. So, all fairness, he got a 5-second grid penalty. Ultimately, at the end, didn't matter. Carlos Sainz had suspension problems in the end and actually retired because he had suspension problems. Pascal Wehrlein actually having a freaking fantastic weekend. Manor were looking to actually score points. I would even go as far as score a point. And then just Wehrlein had brake problems. But he did really well off the start. He was around 14th. And then there was a bunch of drama. And they could have made a one-stop work. And it was just... I felt bad. He really, really looked strong through this race. Haryanto, I believe he finished. I'll actually check quickly. Haryanto finished... Yeah, he finished last. But... Wehrlein didn't look slow. Wehrlein looked damn quick and actually competitive to get a point. So unfortunately they didn't get a point in the end because he had to DNF. And then Hamilton had problems during the race, which ultimately just kept him where he was, where he was in low power mode and he wasn't getting max power, and it really hurt him. Like, it wasn't like a little bit, it was quite a lot of power he seemed to be missing, because when he did clear it, he did the fastest lap straight away, and apparently he had cleared it within a quarter of the lap. So he still had the problem for a quarter of the lap and went the fastest lap. Rosberg also had the problem, wasn't scot-free for Hamilton, but Rosberg actually, because he knows the car, because not being racist, Germans study the car. Typically the German drivers go to every single inch and detail of the car, and they know exactly what to do when there's a problem and this and that. Whereas Hamilton, he doesn't care, he doesn't want to study, he wants to go out and party, he wants to go to America, he wants to go do all these things, which is fair enough, but you're getting paid $100-something million, study, don't complain, study, you know. And in the years it's helped Vettel. Vettel is very good at thinking on his feet or knowing what to do, he doesn't have to rely on the team, he just does it. And it works. So, yeah, just was a problem for him during the weekend. For Red Bull, Ricciardo was nowhere to be seen. He finished in 7th in the end. No, 5th. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Finished at 7th with his teammate finishing in 8th in the end. They fell back during the race. They couldn't turn the tyres on, and they were just overgraining. They were just using them too much, and unfortunately, that was it. That affected them quite badly. So the race results. It's kind of it for the race. It's kind of a boring race. Great race though, in terms of yet again another setup race for the season. Like everything I said in Canada is kind of happening. I actually didn't do bad on the podium. I did say Vettel would get second, by the way. I said Mercedes would get first. I actually couldn't pick between the two, but then I went, if I had to pick one, I'm going to get Hamilton. I was wrong about that, but Rosberg got it. And then third was actually Sergio Perez. So I should mention Sergio Perez is my driver of the day and was driver of the day, because he's actually absolutely phenomenal. He got the penalty and still finished third. He would have been battling with Ferrari, and I actually think he would have been challenging Mercedes along the way. But we'll have, we'll never know. We'll have to just see what happens with him, and that's part of the reason why I think he'll go to Ferrari. He's really shown, hey look, I'm a candidate for this season to move to a good team. He won't leave Force India unless it's a Ferrari seat. He's not going to go to Red Bull or maybe Mercedes. It'll be one of the two he's going to go to as a seat, And he's had a great redemption after McLaren. Not many people leave McLaren, go to a midfield team, and then come back strong, like he is. He's got 2 podiums this year already. So phenomenal. So the race results was Rosberg first, Vettel second, Perez third, Raikkonen fourth, Hamilton fifth, Bottas sixth, Ricciardo seventh, Verstappen eighth, Hulkenberg ninth, Massa 10th, Button 11th, Nasser 12th, Grosjean 13th, Magnussen 14th, Palmer 15th, Gutierrez 16th, Ericsson 17th, and Halianto 18th. You had Alonso, who had problems, gearbox problems, same as what happened in Canada to Button, Pascal and Sainz and Kvyat, or DNF'd. Sorry about that. And then championship-wise, Hamilton and Rosberg stayed the same, except for Rosberg gets 24 points over Hamilton now. The gap is 24 points now, not he gained 24 points. So that's that with them. Vettel's third, Raikkonen took Ricciardo. There'll be a good battle for that third place going on to the season. Later in the season, second half of the season is a very Red Bull heavy season. The first half is typically anyone else's, So we'll have to wait and see. I do believe that they'll be able to do well going into the season. So Bottas is 7th, Perez moved up to 8th, Massa is 9th. So it's it's gonna be some interesting positions and things to go. I'm looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to Austria, even though Red Bull are going to do crap. I still do think Red Bull will have something. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Red Bull will have something because they don't want to lose at their track. It's the Red Bull Ring. You don't want to lose at your track. So I think they'll fix that. And Williams will. I don't think Williams will do well here. They have in the past, but I don't think they will this year. Maybe Force India will be our surprise person this weekend. But I definitely feel, or next weekend, sorry, definitely feel like Ferrari and Mercedes will have a good weekend there. Thank you guys for watching. That's it for now, and I will see you guys I'll see you guys for videos. Don't know how many I'll have this week. I may get one other video out this week. Next week, I promise you, video every single day. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to see more. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.